कि everyone feels कि हाँ एक बार कुछ start किया तो फिर तो funding आती रहेगी and then we'll start to build something or we'll be millionaires, billionaires one day.
हेलो गाइस, क्या हाल चाल है आप सबके। आई एम रोहन गोयल एंड वेलकम टू माय चैनल इन्फोग्रोज। तो आज हमारे साथ है रक्षित भैया। ही हैज स्टार्टेड हिज स्टार्टअप कॉल्ड स्काईवेयर ऑटोमेशन इन हिज 4th ईयर ऑफ बीटेक। तो चलिए आज जानते हैं इधर हाउ वाज हिज जर्नी, हिज एक्सपीरियंस एंड विच प्रॉब्लम ही फेस्ड ड्यूरिंग हिज जर्नी। तो स्टार्ट करते हैं वीडियो को। तो हाय रक्षित भैया।
Yeah, hi Rohan. What's up? Excited to be part of this talk today. Excited to share my experience, my knowledge with you. And glad you have started with this YouTube channel. That's one of the signals of an entrepreneur, starting with something, sharing the knowledge out to the world. So great. Yeah, Rohan, talking about me, so I founded my startup in the final year of my graduation. जब मैं 7th semester में था, I started with a company called Skyware. And why I started was because there was a problem that I thought was interesting to work on, and I thought I had this particular skill set, and that's where I thought this is the best time. There is nothing to lose. So while I was completing my graduation, or because it was the COVID era, universities were running online, college bhi nahi jana tha, placements they had started, but अब वो सिनेरियो था कि you don't have to be there in the college, spend full day. So I had this time, I can invest my energy onto something really productive. So I thought, why not? Let's take it further, have an experiment, and then let's see how it turns out to be. It's been 1 year now. We have got certain achievements. We have been incubated by Nexus, that's under the US Embassy there in India. That's a consortium, a program which is run by the US government and the Indian government, helping early stage entrepreneurs, startup founders, nurturing them, taking their concepts, taking their products and helping them to commercialize it in the market. Number two, we're also supported by Entrepreneur Park. So that's a government of India incubator supported by Ministry of IT and Electronics and Software Technology Parks of India. They are helping us on how you actually work on your idea, build a product out of it, a minimum viable product, and then take it to the market. We've also been there in the top 50 international startups by a competition in Vietnam. So that was a huge achievement, got certain recognition. We are recognized by Startup India as well. So these things have turned out to be good, and we are now soon planning to launch with our product in the market. And if I talk about my experience in college, so in the first year, I actually started exploring the entrepreneurial sector itself. Like, मुझे first year में ऐसा नहीं लगा था कि sitting in college could actually help me to just gain what's there in the industry. So I thought, why not let's go out and attend these events. I was pretty active in the entrepreneurship cell, but connected with certain members. उनसे मुझे पता चला कि ऐसा there are certain events happening. I took my friends over there कि चलो let's go and explore क्या चल रहा है. Let's try to meet these people, hear them out. उस time पे there were a lot of offline events happening, and that was amazing. That gave me a spark. Okay, that's what ignites everyone at the first stage to start with a certain thing, to start with a certain problem. Second year I was pretty active with technology. I started exploring how tech can be used in solving a lot of problems and optimizing a lot of processes and these things. So I started participating in hackathons a lot. As that gave me a push towards product development, understanding कि एक product क्या होता है, what's the journey, how you develop it, idea से लेके आप एक prototype तक कैसे जाते हो. My third year was more involved into actually building a product that we did for our college itself. We had launched it, we started it from the scratch, doing the market research, understanding the problem very deeply, developing a product, first a prototype, then a product. फिर उसको even हमने launch किया college में. We had our directors and most of these professors gathered, and that gave me another level of push. Then I had my experience working with an early stage startup called Pod Scientific. I was the youngest intern over there. I started in my third year itself. They don't hire interns in the third year. They want people in the fourth year so that they can have them for 5 to 6 months of internship and get them placed directly. So I got an opportunity to actually work for 6 months as an intern over there directly under the CEO. That experience was again an exciting thing which ignited, okay. And then in my fourth year, I started with the Skyware.
तो भैया अब जब एक स्टूडेंट कॉलेज में आता है फर्स्ट ईयर में, तो उसे लगती है अब वो नया फर्स्ट ईयर में आता है, तो उसे कॉलेज की स्टडीज भी संभालनी होती है, उसे कोडिंग भी स्टार्ट करनी होती है, उसे डिफरेंट सोसाइटीज क्लब्स में भी पार्टिसिपेट करना होता है। तो ऐसे टाइम पे जब एक स्टूडेंट्स के पास काफी सारी चीज हो जाती है उसके माइंड में कि वो क्या क्या करे, तो एक ऐसे में एंटरप्रेन्योर माइंडसेट कैसे रखे वो, और बेनिफिट्स क्या क्या होते हैं एंटरप्रेन्योर माइंडसेट रखने के?
ओके, सो देखो, स्टूडेंट हो, द बेस्ट पार्ट ऑफ बीइंग अ स्टूडेंट इज you have a scope of a lot of experiments. So I've recently changed my perspective of experiences to experiments, because whatever you try to do is either it might you have a vision with that thing, you have an ultimate goal कि मुझे इसके साथ क्या करना है. Suppose you're starting with the competitive coding, तो आपका एक goal have to be above in the rank list. मुझे और better problems को solve करना है, better questions को solve करना है. So you're experimenting with these things. कभी question solve होगा, कभी नहीं होगा, right? नहीं होगा तो आप फिर से जाओगे, अगले दिन जाओगे उस पे, उस दिन भी नहीं होगा, next day जाओगे. So that's how you are constantly thriving behind it to be successful, to achieve what you have aimed for. So that's the number one thing every entrepreneur should have or must develop. So as a student, you have a lot of time to experiment with a lot of different stuff. Okay, there you understand that this is the right direction for me, this is not. And number two, what you have to be good with is managing your time, is managing yourself. Okay, there are a lot of things. We were in college back then, we had a lot of these things, managing with the college studies, college projects, assignments. Okay, and simultaneously growing, exploring new things out in the world. So you have to figure out what's the best for you. You have to identify कि this is what I am being excited about, this is what I'm really passionate about, or this is something जिसमें मुझे मजा आ रहा है, मुझे इसकी तरफ जाना है. I have to explore, even if it is not giving me instant results. Let me just explore, see what's the journey ahead, how's the direction ahead. These things, this is the best benefit of being a student. You don't have any pressure कि मुझे instantly results देने, or I have to start earning, I need to get a good stipend or something like that. Yeah. Number three, or one thing that I have really seen common among a lot of great entrepreneurs is they're all constantly looking for growth for themselves, growth for their company, growth for their product, growth for whatever they are into. And that's what makes you an entrepreneur. That's what ignite you to have an entrepreneurial mindset.
So how your parents supported in your journey? मतलब ऐसा हुआ कि पेरेंट्स ने कहा कि भाई पहले प्लेसमेंट ले लो, प्लेसमेंट लग गई तो 2-3 साल बाद स्टार्टअप स्टार्ट कर लेना, या फिर स्टार्टअप के लिए उन्होंने कुछ कहा है ऐसे आपको?
Okay, so I think before convincing your parents, it's you yourself whom you need to convince. Okay, because all these distractions do come. Key placement आ रही हैं, अच्छे packages आ रहे हैं. ठीक है, there is a lot of these things going in the market. आप अगर engineer हो, you could work better on the technology part. Why do you have to understand more about business, finance, pitching, presentations? ठीक है, rather sit on your PC and start coding, get better at coding, or फिर crack the better MNCs, crack Microsoft, crack Amazon. So that's all possible. These kind of candies are there in the market. So first you need to convince yourself कि क्यों करना है. Okay? And what I say is कि it's not about स्टार्टअप करना है या नहीं करना है. इट्स मोर अबाउट, डू यू थिंक जो प्रॉब्लम आप सॉल्व करने जा रहे हो दैट्स worthy enough to be solved, that's huge enough to be solved, and do you think you have the right understanding, you have the right skill set to solve that problem? These are some questions you need to answer yourself. और ये आप ऐसे ही नहीं आंसर करते, you do a bit of research to actually see कि हाँ this has a certain potential. If I go ahead with this thing, if I go ahead to suppose create a social media platform where I am able to connect with the people from different mindset, or if I want to create an IoT product which is monitoring the pollution levels and alerting you, kuch bhi agar create karna hai, is that viable enough to be created?
Once you yourself are convinced, then it's not difficult to convince others, be it your parents. So in my case, I was lucky enough to not being questioned on कि ये करना है तो क्यों करना है, नहीं करना है तो क्यों करना है, or go for placements or something.
भैया, what are the common misconceptions in the mind of a student? जैसे कई स्टूडेंट सोचते हैं कि यार एक बार ही फंडिंग मिल गई मजा आ जाएगा, और कुछ ये सोचते हैं कि स्टार्टअप स्टार्ट करना तो काफी मुश्किल की बात होती है, काफी ज्यादा टाइम और इन्वेस्टमेंट लगती है इसमें. तो आपके क्या व्यूज है इसके रिगार्डिंग?
So देखो, जो मैंने ऑब्जर्व किया है, what are these common misconceptions among students, और जो मेरी भी थी, I'm talking about that. Number one is obviously everyone feels कि हाँ एक बार कुछ स्टार्ट किया तो फिर तो फंडिंग आती रहेगी and then we'll start to build something or we'll be millionaires, billionaires one day. That's one of the biggest misconceptions.
पैसा ही पैसा होगा.
Number two is also people think कि हाँ मैं कुछ start करूँगा, I'll be the CEO of a company at the age of 20, at the age of 21 I'll be a chief executive officer. It rather becomes a chief everything officer later when you realize. So ये कुछ misconceptions रही हैं, and probably the third is कि if you'll start something तो आप जस्ट आपको प्रोडक्ट बनाना आता है, आप प्रोडक्ट बनाओगे, आप मार्केट में जाओगे, लोगों को सेल करोगे एंड यू विल स्टार्ट जनरेटिंग रेवेन्यू फ्रॉम डे वन, और उसको आप स्केल करते जाओगे, यू विल हैव बेटर ग्रोथ, आप उसको इंटरनेशनल लेके जाओगे. दैट्स हाउ वी आइडियलाइज इट, द जर्नी ऑफ एनी स्टार्टअप और व्हाट अ स्टार्टअप फाउंडर एनविजन्स अबाउट इट. ठीक है. But the reality is कि number one, I suggest young students who are looking forward कि हाँ we have to come up with something, हमें हमारा भी एक startup हो. Don't go ahead to start with a company or have a startup of your own if you just think कि आपको funding चाहिए या आपको वो fame and LinkedIn पे update करना है. That's not the only thing. If you have these things in mind, better wait for around 2-3 years, get certain experience, get certain maturity level, and then come back, have your dreams accomplished, और फिर बनाओ जो बनाना है आपने. One of the misconceptions nowadays I've seen among students is generally they feel कि हम कुछ भी start करें and I can start anything individually and आगे जाके तो मैं फिर advisors and I'll get these people together. Rather, what happens is collaboration is something you should really focus on too. Even collaborating with your core members whom you think could be the founding team of your company, collaborating with people with similar mindset but from a complementary domain. Okay, you think you are good at software programming, or suppose you are very good at handling the backend and stuff, so prefer getting someone who's good at the design and who's good at bringing to reality what it's something which is really user friendly and people would love to use that, spend more time onto these things, building better UI UX and stuff like that, or get people whom you think could help you with the business part of it, understanding business and understanding financials, or presenting it to the world. Yeah, these are some things if could be worked on in the right direction. क्योंकि क्या होगा आगे जाके आपका कॉन्सेप्ट, आपका प्रोडक्ट पिवट करेगा, ठीक है, बट टीम इज समथिंग व्हिच विल बी देयर विद यू.
In your opinion, which is more great, like starting a startup after college, after getting 2-3 years of experience in corporate world, or starting the startup in college, like you also started the startup in
Mhm.
fourth year. So what are your opinion on this?
Right. नहीं, even starting in college gets a bit late. You should, I think, start when you're in your 7th or 8th standard.
Yeah.
Kidding. So
Yes.
so
गजब
actually
बेइज्जती है
there is no right time for that, and when you feel कि जो points अभी हमने पीछे discuss करे, when you feel you are able to answer those questions, when you feel you have something, you see the potential, you trust yourself, you trust your concept, the problem you're trying to solve, you see a great potential into that. If you are able to answer those questions very well, I think that's the right time. Though people would suggest ki nahi, this is the right time, or at least go ahead with that. There are advantages when you start early, when you are just in your college, probably in your final year. I've seen people in their pre-final year starting with certain things with a company or that stuff. So yes, starting early gives you a lot of experiences, and there is nothing to lose if you start early. Okay, आपका जो
Yes.
time जाएगा, you were ultimately investing that in your degree. So by the time you graduate with your peer batch, you'll see that you have much better experiences, you have much better learnings, insights, and you can actually impress the interviewers better than your peers, right? So that's an advantage. At the same time, there are some cons to it, like starting early. You don't initially have the network. Now आपको एक particular community के अंदर घुसना है अब. You're just you will be treated as a fresher. There are experienced people, there are people who are in their 30s, 40s, probably 25
People
to
will
30 as well.
underestimate you.
They might you will have to prove yourself every time. There are quite many advantages of starting early than starting late, right? Another thing is कि आपके पास एक अच्छा network होता है of your peer group, of your college professors, of your college management. They can help you very well, and your students can get these things executed. They'll just do it for you. आप कुछ भी बोलोगे, but once you've got a certain 4 to 5 years experience, and then you get people around, और फिर उनको बोलोगे कि यार मेरे लिए ये चीज थोड़ा एक ऐप बना दो, इस तरीके से इसको build करके दे दो मेरे लिए, I'm facing issues in this particular thing. They might not be convinced, and at the same time they might not be able to give you their time because they're busy
Yes.
in their corporate world. They're balancing their work and life and all these things. That's what I have to say. But at the same time, if you have got a particular experience and then you start with something, then you want to have your own business or have your own startup, that's the point where it becomes quite easier to convince people. You don't have to prove for each and everything. They know you, why you are starting it. You might have there might be a very strong reason for you, so they trust you very easily. ठीक है, उनको पता है कि आप मैनेज भी कर पाओगे चीजों को, the company, managing people with you around, and they understand that you have that maturity level, and trust comes through that as well. ये सारी चीजें हैं that I have seen. Yeah, but trust me, starting early is better than waiting for some time. If you actually see कि हाँ, there is something I can invest my time into.
Thank you, Bhaiya, for your really informative session, for giving your time to us, to students.
Anytime, Rohan, anytime. And मतलब I'm quite open to connect with anyone over LinkedIn or कहीं पे भी if they need certain guidance. I've got a certain set of experiences कि कुछ
Yeah.
scratch से start करना है from 0 to 1. How to do that. So I could share those things. I've got a certain network now. It's been 1 year. I've been able to get people around, get great mentors, advisors who can really help to have to, in fact, helping me to have a better vision for Skyware ultimately. So
Yeah.
I'm easily available. I'm there to connect. I love talking to students, inspiring them, and figuring out with them, okay, what could be done if you're struggling with anything, because I'm really fond of this creative energy that students bring in. At times
Yes, Bhaiya.
I might take a bit more time to figure out what's the best solution in problem solving, but the students are quite fast at it, at execution.
तो गाइस, अगर आपको कोई भी डाउट हो तो कमेंट सेक्शन में आप पूछ सकते हैं, और मैं शेयर भी कर दूंगा रक्षित भैया के लिंक्डइन प्रोफाइल का लिंक। तो जैसे कि भैया ने बताया, आप भैया से डायरेक्ट डाउट पूछ सकते हैं। सो थैंक यू भैया फॉर अ सेशन।
ओके
भाई मजा आया।